Hey, it's a pleasure to be back. I appreciate it, Mark, Gerhardt, and team. All right, folks, if you're trying to decide whether or not to do email during this session, I'll just tell you right up front. This is for the AI beginners, the late adopters, the bandwagon haters. To be honest, that's me. I'm a bit of a self-proclaimed technophobe, and I've been skeptical of the hype. I've been invited to 300 events telling me about, hey, AI is going to change my life. So last month, I challenged myself to do a road test. All right, I went to about 10 hours of webinars. I used ChatGPT at least 3 times a week, and I did some deep interviews with AI experts who advise companies like Microsoft and others, okay? The whole goal was, what's the real deal? Can I translate this for the everyday person, right? And can I incorporate AI into my offerings at Factor 8 and Girls Club? So what I'm going to share with you are my key takeaways, a few cautionary tales, and some tactical advice that's specific to revenue and enablement leaders, because that's my background too. So 10 seconds of who I am. Lauren Bailey, my friends call me LB. And 15 years ago, I popped out of corporate America to found Factor 8. I grew up leading digital sales teams and revenue enablement teams globally. And I really struggled to find a company who could help train my young reps to be confident, to make outbound calls and to get through to people. So I popped out and I built it myself. So for the last 15 years, these are some of the amazing companies I've had the honor of partnering with. My mission in the workplace is to help young people learn to love sales, to come to sales on purpose, to stay in sales. And the way I do that is helping them be more successful, faster, and stop hiding behind email. So if my company and myself are new to you, I invite you to join us. Every month, in fact, it's tomorrow, I host a sales shot. We speak to SDRs, AEs, account managers, sales enablement, and especially sales managers. I love helping people make a successful transition from rep to manager. That's what Girls Club is about. So our learning platform is called the Sales Bar, and we have a little too much fun with it. Every month we put on sales shots. They're super fast-paced, tip-rich sessions, just like the one I'm about to do for AI. Here we go. Shot number 1. If you haven't already, it's time to try it. Just do it, okay? I've been hearing about AI and ChatGPT just like you. In fact, I think the first time I saw it was on Mark Hunter's screen a year ago when we were in Texas. So if you want to understand the hype, my advice is open the damn thing up. In fact, go do it right now and force yourself like I did to try it 3 times a week. Here's what helped me. Every time I went to Google something, I just opened ChatGPT instead. But here's what else I learned, you guys. It's not just me who's been putting it off. What % of the US is actively using AI? According to a Salesforce.com study last quarter, less than half of us. And the majority of them are the young generations, right? The millennials and the Zs, which tells me a lot of you are probably in my boat. What's all the hype about? Should I use it? Should I not? So this is the number 1 tip. You know you love to multitask. Go open it up right now. It's that easy. ChatGPT.com. But look, there's also other options. I learned this from some of the experts. I didn't even know, right? All of these are free. All of them. And they all have slightly different niches. Isn't that interesting? Some are more creative, some are more research. I had somebody create images of me on Mid-Journey. I kind of loved them, I got to be honest. What do you think, Mark?
I love it. I tell you what, would you mind go ahead and sharing your screen? Because for some reason, we're not getting your graphics up on the screen. So
I'm so sorry that that's happened. I'm really glad that you popped in because it was working before we were going, wasn't it? Here we go, folks.
I know, it's amazing what happens before we go live.
I know, right? So all those amazing companies we've worked with, the sales, they were fabulous, right? Mark, I'm glad you popped in. Thank you. Here are some of the options, folks. Screenshot this and just pick 1 or 2 to try. It really does, like getting your hands on it, right? It makes a difference. But before we send everybody off to multitask, let's talk safety. This is a big deal, okay? Shot number 3, be a little afraid, okay? Right now, some knucklehead Gen Z on your team is pasting confidential information into ChatGPT, okay? It could be customer data. It could be R&D data. It could be pricing data. And if you try to lock it down, at work to avoid this, they're going to use it on their phones. They're going to use it at home. So my point about jumping in is that we need you to lean in fast so you can lead this, not apologize for it later. Okay. So screenshot this list and book a meeting with your team immediately. In fact, I think this was Bryn's story. I told the story 20 times. An author friend of mine literally had her own quote from her published work sent to her in a sales pitch. And guess what? Legislation is coming out on this right now. If they find it in ChatGPT, it's for use. So here's a couple bonus actions I'm going to recommend immediately. Okay, a little chaser here. Get involved ASAP so you can lead it, not just get blamed for someone on your team screwing it up, because you know it's your team, right, that are young and using this thing. Next thing, talk to legal, talk to IT right away. Let's just go find out what their plan is. Let's see how we can safeguard this. Realize that if you want to keep yourself and your company safe, you're going to have to talk with your sales team a lot, a minimum of 5 times about what's on the no-no list, what's the to-do and what's the not to do. This is for until you lock down your own private instance. This is a training-based solution. Enablement folks, lean in here. If you've got to go scream at everybody internally, say, we need some training about this, now is the time. Sales leaders, be ready to update your contracts, okay? Do we need to protect our information? Things are going to start kicking off next year, right? Maybe you're not even allowed to use Zoom meetings because of the AI research assistant behind it. So look for these things to happen and get ready to update often. So let's start with, all right, if you're leaning in, you promise you're going to try it a couple times. What are some things that you can do here as you're leading the task force, right? I'm going to recommend 1, put a really promising millennial in charge. Then you and the guy from IT and legal can run oversight on the committee. But go ahead and start this. Pick a goal, right? Decide, are we going to be ChatGPT? Are we going to use the Google? Are we going to use Microsoft's? Whatever it may be. But get some volunteers who want to come in and help. Set goals, set guardrails, and then run pilots. Okay, let half the team use the AI generated emails and the other half the team use marketing's emails and see how they perform. Keep refining, keep meeting, keep talking about it. Bonus chaser, a strategic look at an AI use case roadmap. So the company I interviewed to learn more was called Crayon. They're a Norwegian-based company, right? Not Crayola. AI experts in IT services, and they literally advise companies on this. And this is their use case roadmap. So identify where you are, right? Is this going to change your world? Is it going to change your headcount next year? Is it going to change your goals next year or your budget? Probably not. But here's a few great places that you and your committee can start, okay? Until you have AI integrated in with all of your existing tools, which was step 6 in the use case roadmap, okay? These are the top beginner use cases. These are great things to try. And by the way, I asked ChatGPT itself, what are the top 10 ways that revenue and enablement leaders can use ChatGPT? After about 10 minutes of editing, refining, moving things around, this is the list. I also supplemented this list with some of our friends of Factor 8, our revenue and enablement leader friends who said, here's how I use it. And these are our top 10. By the way, this didn't really necessarily save me time, okay? Did ChatGPT make it easier for me to make this list? The answer is no. But you know what it did do? It gave me probably 3 or 4 ideas that I hadn't heard of yet, that I hadn't thought of testing. And that's where the real value came in, right? Now, I updated it again when I got more input from people and started moving things to this next list, great goals. Now, what's the difference between the 101 list and this, the 201 list? A lot of these are going to require you to put inputs that could be a bit risky. You don't want to just start down this road. You're going to have to build something, integrate something, or paste something to get good results from this list. So these are our top 201 level, right? Pricing strategy. It's really cool what you can do, but you're going to have to paste your own in. So let's make sure that's okay. By the way, I love the idea of lead qualification. I've used it for training role plays, to write them and to do them. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. The idea of real-time employee feedback, you're going to see this built into so many tools. Can you use it yourself? Let's see. This is why it's 201 level. All right, this one's just for my enablement friends. All right, here's my number one favorite way to use ChatGPT. It's an extra brainstormer in group work. So we know the very best training practices are when you're not telling people stuff, but they're doing it themselves, right? We put them into groups and we say, come up with 10 questions to ask your ICP. The problem with that is sometimes there's not enough expertise in the room, especially during new hire. So what I've done is started saying, all right, instead of just brainstorming in the group, everybody go to ChatGPT and ask it, what are the top 10 questions? Is it going to give you a 100% correct answer? No, but it's going to help supplement with some new ideas. All right, cool. I love the idea about competitive information. When you're training on the competition, you can create exercises, have them go ask ChatGPT about the competition. It's a little bit more interactive and insightful than getting stuck in Google searches. I also love a role play. And in fact, I'll teach you on one of our next slides. You can ask ChatGPT to act as if. Now, on the free site, on your home system or your work system, your role play will be text-based. Hey, ChatGPT, right? Act as if you are a VP of sales and role play with me while I attempt to do a follow-up on a lead you submitted on the website, right? And off you go. Now, you can get a plugin on your mobile version, and do that with voice. So what a cool thing to do, right? We don't always have time to do endless role plays in class. I love that it saves me time to create role play scenarios. I can plug all of my survey data from our training and have it create sentiment analysis. Amazon's doing it right now. You've seen that, right? It can create your quiz questions. It can create your training surveys. How about product Q&A to quiz your people? Pretty cool, right? So all of these are great ideas for enablement. Is it going to allow me to have one less instructional designer next year? No, but it is going to help me get more done during the day. So that brings me to our final shot. This is the most important thing to talk about: quality concerns. Like tequila, ChatGPT is garbage in and garbage out. So I personally tested these 4 things a lot during my road test. And the truth is, I found a lot of fluff, right? I gave it a C. I'll show you an example on the next slide. I think of it like this: 2 different ways for my beginners out there to put ChatGPT into the category for them for right now. When I'm about to go open Google, I open ChatGPT instead. What I can do then is get a more specific feedback. It's a search engine that actually makes recommendations and lets you refine it. Whereas Google, it's a brand new shot every single time, right? And what they're going to do is serve up links where you need to go and investigate. ChatGPT is a little faster. It's going to give you an answer recommendation, and then you can talk back and coach it into giving you a better one. I like that. It's a little bit faster for me. It's a little bit more specific and direct for me. I like to think of it as curing writer's block. It gives a great draft 1, and then you go in and do all the refining and the work. And I'm going to talk to you about how to make that better. But it's not going to tell you when it doesn't know something. There's literally even a name for it. It's called hallucinating, right? Who is Mark Hunter? It's a good thing to check right now. If ChatGPT doesn't know, it's going to make up an answer, right? And that's kind of fun sometimes to see the BS that comes out of AI. So let me give you an example. Try this with me. You can go open it up right now. I asked ChatGPT something where I'm an undisputed expert, right? I teach phone sales. I've been in this business and industry for 25 years. I know I'm an expert. So I asked ChatGPT, teach me how to make a sales call. All right, answer about a C, maybe a C minus. Specifically on each one of these lines, I give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If I'd paid a consultant or a trainer for this advice, I'd be extremely disappointed. But if I were 20 and just starting in phone sales, this would really put me in the right direction. My top complaint with ChatGPT's answers here is that there's very little tactical strategy. Go ahead and try it yourself. Ask ChatGPT something you're expert in right now, and then something where you're not, right? So I tested this yesterday in prep for this. I did another one where I'm an expert, right? Talk to me about prospecting. And then how do I install a steam shower? If I'd asked that of Google, I would have gotten recommendations for plumbers or people selling steam showers. GPT gave me 13 pretty solid steps. I only knew 4 of them. So not bad, right? Most importantly, let's talk now about how to make this C- a B or better. Here's how we beat the quality concerns. We can do it with inputs, called prompts, or outputs, where I'll call it refining or coaching. Here's the top 4 ways with your inputs. The first one is you can get really specific and creative with those prompts. Act as if you are a revenue enablement leader and ask me questions about my products and services pasted here from my website. General rule, folks, is it's okay to paste if it's prominent on your website, right? Maybe not the background R&D data, what you're developing next, but if it's on your site, you're pretty safe. Wow, really cool, right? Same thing, ask me questions as if you're a revenue ops leader, as if you're an IT leader. Pretty neat. I like that a lot. Write me a course description using language appealing to a sales manager. I need to launch a new market, so ask me questions to help me build a 90-day plan. Really specific. In fact, the longer, the better. So for example, write me a sales coordinator job description. All right, that's pretty good. It can help me cure writer's block and get started. This one's better. Create me a job description for this specific company. You know what's coming. Best, it's 2 pages long. You've probably seen prompts out there and you think, what is this block of text? That's somebody who has gone at it 100 times and refined and refined and refined until they got a really great, really specific output. Great. There's also a way to beat quality concerns with your outputs. Let's talk about that. I'm going to give you an example too. So I like to call this 3C ChatGPT. So unlike Google, it's not a new shot every time, right? Where you have to be like, ooh, I didn't ask that right. Let me pick a keyword and ask again. Every output you get, you need to refine 3 times, okay? That's really the key. So it spit out a list of ways to use ChatGPT, and I refined it. I said, could you do some that are lower risk? Could you do some more specific to enablement leaders? Could you make the length of each suggestion shorter? You can refine on tone. You can refine on formality, specificity, length, okay? You coach it until you get what you want. That's your 3. Now let's talk the C's. When you get your answers, what do you do with it? Because I promise you, if your sales team is asking AI to write marketing emails for them, it's kind of a nightmare waiting to happen, all right? These are not solid, tactical, strategic, actually going to work emails. They're a little fluffy. It's sort of like, has anybody ever had marketing write them their value prop for outbound phone sales, right? It's like your prospects hang up around paragraph 2. It's good for print, but not for voice. We find that all the time. So here's the 3 C's. 1, cherry pick. Just find some keywords and phrases. 2, combine it with a framework that's already working for you. Don't toss out your qualification criteria, your playbook, your pipeline stages, your sales methodology. Get new ideas and combine it into the framework that's working. And the most important C, coach the delivery. Because if your folks are trying to say the words that are being written out of ChatGPT, that does not sound very confident. And we all know that sales is a confidence sport. So let me show you an example, okay? Tomorrow, I told you I'm doing a sales shot. It's about beating the brush off. The brush off is that early objection that you get on a cold, warm, even hot sales call, right? Oh, I don't have time. I'm good, whatever it may be. So here was my prompt, and here's the ChatGPT answer. All right, next, here's what I cherry picked. And now we're wrapping this up, Mark. Here's how we plugged it into the framework. Our framework is CCO, closed question, open question, because the strategy is get the decision maker talking, right? Let's get them talking before they realize they're in a sales call so they don't just brush us off. So I grabbed the prompts, I cherry picked the answers, and here's what it looks like. Customer says, I'm late for a meeting. We say, busy day? Oh, yeah, not too bad. How big is your team? Oh, I've got, right. If this is a scientific fact called instinctive elaboration, where you hijack their brain into talking to you, and it works. If you want to try it out, I hope that you will. I did in the end put AI exercises into my top classes on the bar, and we've got a great deal, right? If you like tactical stuff and you want to experience AI in a safe way, use this promo code and get it for under $300. You probably have that left over in your travel budget. Awesome. Let me just skip right now to my contact information, and I'm going to go hang out in the booth. If you've got questions or feedback or want to talk enablement or onboarding or next year's budgeting or any of that stuff, I'd love to chat it.